So welcome back to the channel. I'm Sunny, and in this episode, I'll share with you 5 tips to improve your video calls over Zoom. So I just wanted to make this quick video to share with you my tips on how you can improve your video calls over Zoom. Most of us are working from home these days, so virtual meetings is now a thing. It's probably more important than ever that your communication is heard loud and clear. You don't want to be in a stakeholder meeting where there's interference or every second word is being heard, because you're not really going to get your message across. So it's definitely something that you should always test and inspect just to make sure that everything's working. You know, Zoom allows you to do test recordings and everything else. This video is not really about trying to save money or anything else. It's probably more about trying to invest money on yourself. These things should be important to you, but you don't need to spend the world. You should also check in with work, because work may actually provide you with such equipment now because, you know, you're working from home. So it's technically equipment for work now. So you just got to remember that people will watch a poor video with good audio as opposed to a good video with bad audio. Okay, so number 1 will be audio. So you need to make sure that people can hear you clearly. You can start with something like the headsets that come with your mobile phone. You know, they tend to work pretty well. You can buy the headset ones with the little microphones that are via USB, or you can just use the big Bluetooth ones that everyone likes to use. But I've been working from home for about 1.5 years now, and wearing a headset all day gives me a headache. So I prefer not to wear anything, and I don't like the cables. So I have a USB mic and I have a speaker here. This microphone is a Samsung Q2U plugged in via USB into my computer, which I'm actually recording through Zoom right now. And it cost me maybe about $100, which is probably a couple of years ago. But you can also look at other mics. So you've got to consider 2 things. There's 2 types of mics. So this is a dynamic mic, which will record only things in front of it, as where a condenser mic, such as the Blue Yeti or Rode NT USB or the NT USB Mini, they're condenser mics. So they're more made for controlled spaces. You need to ensure that there's not much background noise with where you are. I'll put all the links below. Definitely recommend that you invest in a decent mic, or just make sure that people can hear you clearly. So, in Zoom, you can actually test, record and listen to yourself, which sounds silly, but it's something you should actually do regularly. So number 2 is lighting. Now, I put lighting above the webcam because most people will use a webcam on their laptop, which, is fine. You don't need to try and spend all this money on good video and whatever else, but you need to make sure that you're lit well. Now, if you look at this light, I've got a little soft ring light. Now, if I turn this off, you don't want to be attending meetings like this, right? Because it looks like I'm about to hold a ransom call. So just have some decent lighting. Now, natural lighting near a window is perfect, but the way that my room is situated, I'm not facing the window. But just make sure that you're well lit, and make sure it's a soft light. So you don't want to have lights overhead, because when they're shooting down, and they're generally quite harsh, they'll actually give you, the raccoon eyes effect and whatever else. So you kind of need a soft light because it will hide your imperfections and blemishes and things like that. So number 3, now this is kind of optional, but I'd recommend that you get a webcam. Now, the reason why I'd recommend that you get a webcam is I have my laptop over there, which I actually keep it closed all day. And most of the times when you're using a laptop, most of the time the webcam is shooting up. So it's not really the most flattering angles too. Now, by having a webcam, so I'm going to switch over to it. So having a webcam basically gives you the flexibility, right? You can also get a capture card, which is what I was using just then. I bought that for $20, and I've already got my camera gear. So the camera gear obviously is going to be worth, $2 or $3 grand. I just chose to not have all this cabling and all the wiring and whatever else. So I decided to get a webcam. I was very reluctant to spend the money, but I ended up getting this camera, which is a Logitech C920 for $90 secondhand. I think they retail for about $150 now.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Oh, hey there. Hope you're enjoying the video. I'm just having a coffee with a friend here. Hey, where's your coffee? Oh, I just signed up to buymeacoffee.com. What's that? So now you can show your appreciation to the channel by buying me a coffee. That's such a great idea. I know, right? Don't forget, you can show your appreciation by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. So enjoy the rest of the video. See ya! Super useful. Actually has a microphone, which I recorded at the start of this video, but you know, it sounds pretty average, but I mean, it's probably going to be better than a laptop microphone. But I definitely recommend that you invest in either a capture card if you want to reuse, you know, one of your cameras. Most of the new digital SLRs actually have webcam functionality too. But it's up to you if you want to spend that much or use something that expensive day to day. I'd suggest the webcam. So C920 is what I use. I'll put links below. So let's switch over back to the video. Okay, so number 4, zoom settings. I feel like these settings are actually overlooked a lot. Like people don't actually go in and play around and test with them. So let me show you what I do. So under audio, by default, there's an option that says automatically adjust volume, microphone volume. Now I actually untick that and I set it to about 90%. Now that means your audio doesn't automatically go up and down. So you don't really want it to automatically adjust. I've never really looked at what it does, but I assume that's what it does. The other option that I have is suppress background noise. So I just have that to high, but I'd suggest that you don't put on auto and set it to low, medium or high, because I feel like that's also going to manipulate your voice if it's set to auto. And the other one that I just started using is music and professional audio. So I'd probably recommend this more if you have a USB microphone. You can basically allow your audio to be unprocessed. And if you're using, you know, a USB microphone, something high quality, it's probably recommended. So now the other settings is under video. So under video, if I set this to normal ratio and then turn off HD, for some reason it goes into 4:3. So, you know, no one wants 4:3. So I always have it in HD, which is generally 1080. And then I enable this other option, which is just display for low light. All it does is slowly enhance, you know, the darkness in your video. And that's really all I do in my videos. Audio settings are the most important. So number 5, use virtual backgrounds. You know, most people have their computers in areas where they don't want to have the backdrop visible and whatever else. So here's a little trick, which I thought was quite funny. Let me turn my webcam on. So back to the webcam. Now, if we go through here, I think everyone knows about the blurry background. So blurry background obviously works pretty well. I think it's a bit full on though. I wish they had a little bar that you can slide, you know, on how blurry it is. But here's a little hack I saw, which I thought was pretty funny. Just take a photo of your existing background and then basically use it as your background, right? Obviously you see other people, they just use offices and whatever else. But yeah, you know, if you want a little personal touch, you can take a photo of your actual background and use it as your background. Kind of makes sense, right? So those are my tips on improving your video calls over Zoom. So this will be quite interesting on how this video turns out because I'm recording it on Zoom. But I feel like these little things are commonly overlooked by people, but you need to understand how important it is that people can hear you loud and clear in these meetings. You can actually use Zoom to test, record, and listen to yourself, and I recommend you do that on a regular basis. So everything I talk about in this video, I'll link below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for the next video. And I'm signing out. See ya!
Recording stopped.